Welcome to a couple of Rad Techs podcast where we bring you an inside look at the world of radiology from the unique perspective of a married couple of radiologic technologists. Together, we have years of experience, exactly 30 years in the field, and we are here to demystify the science of medical imaging. Radiology is the unsung hero of the medical field, providing doctors with crucial images and information that help diagnose and treat illnesses. Join us as we explore the latest techniques, technologies, and innovations in radiology and discover the vital role we play in the healthcare industry. So come along for the ride as we share our passion for radiology as a married couple. Welcome to a couple of Rad Techs podcast. I am Chaundria Singleton, and we have another amazing guest today. We have Paris Jackson. She is an MRI technologist, and she has so much experience, you guys, that I'm going to let her talk about who she is, what she does in our amazing field of radiology. And just to remind you, as radiologic professionals and medical imaging professionals, we are the third largest medical profession in the nation. Doctors are number one, nurses are two, and we rank number three. So get to know us by listening to this podcast and sharing it with all of your friends and family, because we know a lot of you have already had medical imaging done, whether it's an x-ray, a nuke med test, an ultrasound, or a CT scan, and maybe an MRI. So take a listen to this episode. I am sure you're going to love it. Welcome, Paris, to our podcast.
Hello. Well, thank you for having me.
Well,
I really appreciate it.
It's good to have you. And I am a fellow MRI technologist. So I want to hear from you. Who are you? Let the audience know. Let us into your world, because we see your beautiful pictures on LinkedIn and your beautiful smile. And we want to know, who is this Paris Jackson? And it's not Michael Jackson's daughter. I'm sure you get that all the time. So tell us who you are.
I'm an MRI technologist, currently working in pediatrics. I love working with my pediatric patients. I've been an MRI technologist since 2008, started out in X-ray out of the Mitten State, that's Michigan, went to Lansing Community College. And eventually went back and did some teaching at Lansing Community College. But I love what I do. I love the field of imaging, how broad it is. And people got to remember, we get the inside story for the physicians so that they can make their diagnosis and do surgeries and things like that. It's very rewarding. I love what I do.
Well, nice. I have some stories about Michigan growing up. My mom would always send us to Detroit, Michigan in the dead of winter during our Christmas break to spend with my uncle and his wife. But we had so much fun up there. So I got a lot. And Lansing, I think, is colder than Detroit, right?
So I think Detroit is colder just because they get a lot more of that lake effect snow, coming off of the water and that. But yeah, Lansing's where I was born. It was where I grew up. And eventually as an adult, I went over to Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan.
Nice. So you have told us a lot about you. You specialize in MRI and you work in peds. That is one of my favorite as well. I said, if I ever go back in the hospital setting, Paris, I was going to go only back to pediatrics. I would not go back to the adult world. What makes you love pediatrics so much?
It's the relationship with the children. Love getting on their level, talking to them, whether I'm getting on my knees to talk to them and trying to help them understand exactly what is going to happen, and trying to just talk to them, get them through the MRI. It's so rewarding for me, that I'm doing something that makes such a difference, for the child and for the parent. So I love talking to the families. I love talking to the parents. The thing with pediatric imaging is not only are you serving the child, but you're serving the family, the parent who is there. Sometimes they're just as nervous, sometimes even more nervous than the child who is having the MRI done.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. The parents, the kids are usually, they're not scared. I've had kids come in with limbs hanging like this. They're not crying. They're so excited to get this MRI. I'm thinking kid, do you not see your hand dangling? And they're like, you told me you were going to give me a sticker afterwards. And the parent is freaking out. And I
absolutely.
admire
Me too. They are so resilient. They're resilient and they have faith. Mm-hmm. They have more faith, I think, sometimes than adults, that everything's going to be okay. And they see the brighter side of things. If I had to choose, I do work with adults as well. I have a part-time job where I work with adults, but if I had to choose, sorry adults, it'll be pediatrics for me.
Yeah, I agree. So on your journey because you went to X-ray school or radiologic technology school, you said, and then you made the switch to MRI. what made you actually get into radiology? That is like the burning question, because a lot of people have their
Oh,
own.
I have a great story. So originally, I wanted to be a nurse. And I ended up deciding, okay, nursing isn't for me. I didn't grow up with a medical family, or I didn't know anyone with a medical background, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was I went to my local community college, Lansing Community College. I made an appointment with an advisor, and I said, hey, I'd like to go into healthcare. Can you tell me what other options there are? So they told me about all the other options: surgical tech, ultrasound, x-ray. I said, okay, I want to go into ultrasound. I want to apply to the ultrasound program. So what I did was I applied to the ultrasound program. I ended up talking to another student. She said, yeah, I applied to ultrasound too, but I applied to x-ray backup. And I said, well, geez, that's a great idea. I said, that was my second choice. I'm going to apply to x-ray too. I had dropped my application off for x-ray the day it was due in the drop box after hours.
Wow.
After hours. I actually forgot that I had even applied to x-ray. So I get a phone call. I didn't get into ultrasound. I was devastated. And then I got a phone call 2 days later, that I had gotten into the x-ray program. I forgot that I had even applied. I forgot. So I'm ecstatic, because I was at a point where I want to do this. I want to go into healthcare. This is what I want to do. So that's why sometimes too, and getting a little bit off topic, and I tell people, you never know. Have a plan, have a backup plan, but you never know how your life is going to change or what's going to happen. And because look at me now. Now I'm doing x-ray or MRI with school for x-ray, but I'm doing something that I totally love, but it wasn't my original plan, So, and I feel blessed that I even get to do this. I get to take care of people for a living. I had a great time in community college. I did an x-ray school, great school. It was a great foundation to set me up to continue my career.
Nice. So how long did you teach radiology?
So I started off doing radiologic technology. I taught that for 5 years. Yes. Applied anatomy and pathophysiology for x-ray. Then my program director, they decided they're going to start this MRI consortium. I was working at the University of Michigan at the time. He said, hey, can you help us start this MRI consortium between Grand Rapids Community College and some other colleges in the area? I said, sure. So then I created the curriculum for 4 of the courses for the MRI program. I remember being in x-ray school, and my program director, he said, listen to me. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go and get your undergrad degree, get 2 years of experience, and come back. He said, I think that you would be great at teaching this, and I think that this is your calling. And I said, really? He said, yes. He says, do it, and hopefully I'll see you in 2 years. And I kept a relationship with him, so it was nice to have that come full circle for me.
But what a great experience, and it really shows how we can pivot in radiology. It's not always just patient care. And you just gave a great example of the options that we have as medical imaging professionals is going into education.
Absolutely.
I was thinking when you said about the connection that you kept with your director, that kind of leads me into what I'm really big about this networking. Radiology is a small world. And I try to tell people when they get into it, just being a good human anyway, you should keep good relationships, not that because you need something from somebody. I'm not saying that, but I say that in my 21 years in this field, what has allowed me to never be without a job and a job that I enjoyed. I think I've only had 1 or 2 jobs that I was like, oh no, I got to get out of here. And it was years later that I was like, I gotta go. This is not serving me well at all. It is crazy. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 like that. And they weren't like that much, at the beginning. People kind of just kind of changed. But for the most part, I have really had great experiences. And most of my jobs have been referrals or people that knew my reputation or knew people that knew me. That I always kept good relationships with. How important, you given a great example of that. It led you to the teaching opportunity from being a student. but I always try to encourage students. You are always interviewing as a student.
Absolutely.
I know you're paying for
Absolutely.
it, but you're paying for this education, but
Absolutely.
you're interviewing. What's your thoughts on that? Hey, you guys, as a radiology technologist, I understand the ultimate task of radiology technologists to bring that coffee into their department every morning without spilling it. So I'm going to introduce you to Bevy. Bevy is perfect for this kind of occasion. If you've got the responsibility of bringing in that much needed coffee to your colleagues in the radiology department, have no fear. Bevy was designed just for us rad techs. It's a problem solver to carrying more beverages than your two hands can hold. This beverage carrier can hold up to 12 drinks securely, spill-free, and fits perfectly in your car. You guys, no more spills, no more accidents. Bevy's innovative design keeps your drinks in place even during the most hectic mornings and as you're trying to carry everything in. And the best part, Bevy is proudly owned and operated by a woman. Join the growing community of satisfied Bevy users and experience the convenience and peace of mind you deserve, and your radiology coworkers do too. So don't let spills slow you down. Get your Bevy drink holder today. Keep your coffee and drink secure before they get to the radiology department. Get 20% off too. Use my code RADTEX20.
I 100% agree with you. So to further explain and to kind of go off of what you said. So I went from X-ray to MRI. How I got into MRI was one of my instructors for X-ray said, "Hey, I work as an MRI tech for this company. You know what? I'm going to refer you. Why don't you give this person a call, tell them I sent you. And if this is something that you want to do, then why don't you look into it?" And it just so happened that it was, because while I was in X-ray school, I went on an hours rotation into MRI and said, "Hey, this is something I might be interested in." I called that company and they gave me a job. They just said, "Okay, great. We're looking for somebody. Come in. We'll interview you." But the interview was just, "Okay, we're going to hire you. We're going to train you to do MRI. We're going to give you a significant amount more money to train. We're going to pay for everything for you to train and take your boards." So there you go. So, and that was from another one of my instructors from the X-ray program. Not only that, my next job after University of Michigan got that job because I was referred from somebody who worked for that MRI company. They referred me to their manager. They said, "Hey, this girl is great. I trained her to do MRI. The guy who trained me to do MRI. I trained her to do MRI. She's a great worker. She always shows up on time, great with patients." Went to that interview and it was the same thing. "Hey, Jim Wagner, he's a great employee. He says that you're great. We're going to bring you on." So it's the same thing for me. Nearly every job that I have gotten has been word of mouth from my work ethic. You have to put your best foot, your best face forward. And as you said, even with students, your interview starts then, the first day that you walk in. How you appear, look professional, wear your uniform, show up on time, be willing to do the job, take initiatives, ask questions while you're still in school and while you're in your clinical site, because people are watching you, people know people, and people can get you jobs and propel you to where you want to be or where you want to go next. But they're not going to help you if you don't help yourself.
Yeah, and you've done that. You took the advice in school to go get your undergrad. You did that. And I love how he said, "I hope to see you in 2 years." You know, that was it like making you feel like you had to. It's still left the option open, but it was to me, that is a true sign of a good leader. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Letting you know they have the confidence in you to do that. And that's one thing I feel in our field, what many of us is lacking is giving each other confidence in what we do. Because I don't think, I was just talking to a president of one of the associations of a state for radiologic sciences, and she mentioned that in this particular state, there are over 11,000 technologists, licensed technologists. There are less than 200 that are signed up with the association boards in that state.
Wow.
Blew my mind.
Wow.
And I really, but nursing associations have over 150 associations. We have maybe 2 or 3. They have over 150 and they are heavy on my family that's nurses are like all into like 5 and 6 of them. You know, they don't even know what they do for them, but they are heavy into membership. And you can see what, you know, you see the benefits of what that's done for the nursing profession. And nurses have a confidence that even doctors don't even have. And I feel like, you know, just working in the field that I'm in, I have a great deal of confidence in my ability. I've worked with really solid people who've helped me to really see what radiology is all about and what we do. I worked in research, education, teaching hospitals. And I think that's important to really, for me, with social media, with radiology, is really like empowering other technologists who feel like I only do x-ray.
Yes.
My husband does diagnostic x-ray, and he made more than me at one point when he came with this.
Oh,
I was so offended because I was like, oh, no. You know, and he's been offered management positions and, you know, that's not the direction that he wants to go in. But when I tell you, if we saw ourselves how we truly are, many of us would be paid. When I find out what some people are being paid, I'm like shocked. I'm like, you accepted?
This is one of those things. I am so glad you brought this up because people, everyone, please pay attention. Okay. You set the tone for everyone else who comes after you. So please get what you are worth. Get what you are worth. And in fact, add a couple dollars to that if you can, because you set the tone for everyone else. Especially if you're a worker, you know your worth, you know the knowledge that you have, the background. If you have the knowledge and background to back it up, get what you are worth because you set the tone for the rest of us in this community, in the imaging community who are trying to further ourselves, our careers and make a living to take care of our family as well.
Yeah.
Because yes, we love this and we love to do it. That's why you're in it. You're not going to continue to do it for years if you don't love it. You can't because it's rewarding work, but it can be stressful as well, right? So please get what you are worth. Imaging is a broad field. It it generates income for hospitals, as we know, because of the things that they can do. Like I said before, do surgery and diagnosis and things like that. But for sure, get what you are worth. And we do have to bring each other up in this community and tell, hey, you are capable of doing more, learning, contributing to the overall good of the organization that you work for and yourself personally and professionally. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because I actually just had a conversation. I have 3 friends whose children just finished x-ray school and one of them signed a sign-on bonus with the hospital. She didn't talk to me. And I was like, why didn't you talk to me before you signed it? I'm not against sign-on bonuses, but you just got to do them right. And you have to know how to make sure, you know, it's like signing a contract. And
it is.
Yeah. And you have to make sure that contract not only benefits the hospital, benefits you because they're going to get what they need to get out of it and you need to get what you need to get out of it.
Absolutely.
So when I found out she signed it and what she was not getting out of it, hadn't even gotten paid, hadn't even got any of the money. And I was like, yeah, no, honey, leave, go over here. They messed up that contract. You need to leave and go over here. And eventually she did go over to another hospital. And she was like, I should have listened to you. But my passion is because what I didn't know when I finished school and when I was in school, I just didn't know. And I didn't have anybody to bounce things off of. And my thing, and you said it earlier, and I'm going to go back to what you said and what you did. Not only what you said, but what you did as well. I encourage people because when I got out of x-ray school, my second year of x-ray school was I was just in CT and I was rotating through every modality because I completed all my exams in the first year because I knew I did not want to do diagnostic. And I was like, I should be able to do everything I want to do in radiology. So now I need to use the second year to figure it out because I don't want to go out working trying to figure it out because nobody's going to give it to me for free. I already saw how the dynamics were in the field. Didn't work for my benefit. So I needed while I was paying for it. Let me be smart about this and get it while I'm paying for it. And I just went on and I wound up in CT. So when I got out, I became a CT tech. And later on went on to MRI. But that is the one thing I tell young people. When you finish x-ray school, go straight to these schools now that they have. When I finished, they didn't have all these
Yes.
schools. You had to learn stuff on the job and find a
Yes.
place that would train you and, and hope you could pass the test by studying on your own. Now
Mm-hmm.
y'all have all these
Mm-hmm.
schools. It might cost you $4
Mm-hmm.
grand, but you're going to make that back in
The
probably a
earning
few months.
potential.
Yeah. So you could pay those people
Yes.
back their money or charge it on, I'm not saying
Yes.
charge it a credit card, but just, you could pay it back. You're going to make enough money. But
Right.
my point is, when you come out of x-ray school, even if you want to do x-ray, go learn something else. Have
Absolutely.
minimum 2 modalities under your belt that you are licensed for.
Absolutely.
Not know how to do, but are
Absolutely.
licensed for. And you did that. You came out of school in x-ray and you went straight to MRI. Like, why was that so important to you to have another modality?
So this is a multifold reason. So number one, I at the time, then this is a little bit personal, but I at the time was a single parent. I have a 24-year-old daughter, so I was a single parent. So for me, my motivation was money. I am highly money motivated. It is what it is. I'm motivated by money and opportunity. Those are the things that motivate me. So the first thing was, I could make a substantial amount more money for me doing MRI. And the second was my quest for knowledge, to learn more and to do more. So to learn everything that I could, right? To get more detailed imaging. So those were the things that were very important to me. I wanted to be my goal is to be the best in my field. Okay. Whatever I do, I want to be the best at it. So I'm going to be solely X-ray. I want to be the best X-ray tech that there is. If I'm going to be solo MRI, I'm going to be the sole MRI, the best MRI tech that I can be. So for me, I just felt like having more imaging, a second modality, was going to give me more opportunity and more knowledge as well, which is very important to me. Knowledge is power. Knowledge and education is something that can never be taken away from you. It's a way to grow personally and it's a way to grow professionally. So those were the reasons for me to go to get another modality. Honestly, I don't have CT. I thought about going to do CT and I think about it all the time. And now is actually a really great opportunity because we are needed. I've been asked several times to learn to do CT several times. And I've thought about it and I'm still thinking about it. So
yeah, it will be easy to cross over. I found MR cross-sectionally was easier because CT was cross-sectional. So I had gotten over that hurdle. But yeah, I mean, especially when you find some place that's going to let you, get right on in there and do it. And you already have the radiation principles. It's not like MRI where you're turning off ionizing radiation and learning physics.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, this has been a really good conversation. I really want you to come back because there's so much we didn't talk about, but so many things.
Right. I'd love to come back. I enjoyed talking to you so much.
Yes. Like we felt like, now before I go, because she and I have something in common that we love to do. And as we were talking to this podcast, there's something else that I'm sure you do since you're from Michigan. There's a dance called social dance up in Michigan that I learned where it's like a slow dance. They do it in Chicago. They do it in Detroit. But there's a certain way that people in Michigan just dance. And I'm going to tell you, it's like no other. When I used to go to Detroit to visit my uncle, all my friends would have these parties and we'd be socialing, doing an older, younger. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen such smooth dancers in my life. Do you do that type of dancing?
I'll tell you what I do. I do urban line dancing. 410 live dance group, urban line dance. That is my group. That is my community. I love them as people and I love that dance community. So when you think of dancing, urban line dancing, it's country line dancing with a little bit of swag and a whole lot of smooth.
Oh, yes. I can only imagine. Oh, my goodness. They're roller skating as well. We have that in common. I told her I can roller skate better than I can walk. I love roller skating. And you do too.
I love to roller skate. Absolutely. I love to trick skate, try to learn to trick skate. I skate outside a lot. That is just one of my hobbies, finding some smooth pavement and just skating in the wind. Try to get that wind blowing, my hair blowing. It's relaxing. It's just a way to wind down, to create some good work-life balance, Yeah.
And you definitely do that. And I have enjoyed this conversation. I want to ask one last question now that we've gotten to know Paris.
Sure.
And it's just been a wonderful, real down-to-earth conversation. I really appreciate it. What advice would you give to individuals aspiring to enter the field of radiology or MRI technology, especially those interested in a pediatric? Because I don't think we talk about that as much, pediatrics. And I think it's amazing. There's so much you learn in pediatrics that you just never learn, even when it comes to the actual technology of MRI in pediatrics. So what advice would you give individuals?
So my advice would be, I think that there is a general fear of working with pediatric patients, because people are used to, it's a lot easier for some people to relate to adults because we are adults. Do not have fear, have no fear. Just go for it, try it out. So my advice would be to try something new. Whether it's a different type of imaging, whether you do general x-ray, try doing a lot of fluoroscopy studies. If you're an MRI tech, try doing cardiac, try going into pediatrics, try something different because you never know if you like it. You'll never know if you learn to love it, like I did with pediatrics.
Nice. Great advice. And thank you again for being a guest on our podcast. And you guys check Paris out, all her information. You can follow her on LinkedIn. She does some wonderful content. And you'll learn more about the radiology perspective from her and her experience, which is great because we need to all help people, not only patients, but young people looking to go into the health field. You heard how Paris talked about how she found radiology. She took the initiative and went and searched, like, what are all my options? Everything isn't just nursing. Everything isn't just dental. You do have other options in the allied health field. And we are here to talk solely about radiology and all the amazing modalities and even non-patient opportunities you have. So we'll touch on that the next time you come back. And again, thank you guys for joining a couple of RadTech's podcasts. And thank you, Paris.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. This is just one of the many free resources I offer to my clients to dump unhealthy habits and begin living. Be sure to visit my website for more free resources and health coaching. Again, thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with others so they can join the Let's Chit Chat podcast. Have a great day, you guys. See you next episode.